Good morning. I know it looks like I just rolled out of bed, but I didn't. I've just been up getting some things done, and I'm not going to take my shower until I have cleaned out this chicken coop. But I did want to give you guys a warning. So I couldn't get any hay, and I wasn't going to drive 50 miles to go get some. So I opted for some cedar bedding in my chicken coop. All right. So anyway, I opted for this cedar bedding. And in that time, we lost 4 chickens, and I've never lost chickens like that before. So maybe it was the cedar bedding, I don't know. But what I do know is when it was time to clean it out, I put it on some of my plants, and it killed the plants that I put it on. Don't think they're coming back. So just a heads up, if you have to use some sort of cedar bedding, don't use something else, um, and don't put it on your plants, because I think it's treated with something, not sure what, because it's bedding for other animals. But we haven't had good luck with this, so I just wanted to give you that warning. Let me show you what it did to this one plant. So this is where I put the bulk of it when I cleaned out the coop, and this plant is just dead. I mean, there's just no, let's see. Trying to break it, but it's just spongy. But anyway, it's not even any roots on it now for some reason. Let me show you another one. This Confederate rose hibiscus was planted at the exact same time as this one, and it's doing great. Got the same amount of sunlight and water. I just didn't put that cedar at the bottom of it, and it's doing great. So might not have anything to do with anything, but I wanted to put that possible warning out there for you. I'm going to go ahead and get this chicken coop cleaned out, decide what I'm going to do with all of that cedar now that I have hay to replace it with, and then we'll get back to gardening. Alright, well, the chicken coop is clean enough. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll put some hay in here. Now I can get back to gardening. So if you look at the base of this, there's ants. And I was growing sweet potato vine in here. I don't have any high hopes of having any sweet potatoes in here, but I do see more ant bed in here. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this out. Actually, I do see a sweet potato right there, but see ants, and they're fire ants. So while they're getting all angry, I'm going to dump this out. You can see that would have been a sweet potato. That would have been a sweet potato. And there is a sweet potato right there. I'm going to use a stick to break this apart rather than getting in there with all of those ants. Would have been a sweet potato. I don't see anything else. Just a bunch of ants. Get my one little sweet potato out of there because I'm very proud of it. See if it's still any good. It looks good. Yeah, that's what happens here in Texas when you try to grow things that are close to the ground. The ants get in it. But as you can see, you can grow sweet potatoes in this is a planter, a big one. But you can do it in buckets too. So my one little sweet potato is going to be my lunch today. Just gonna, you know what? I'm going to use a knife. Don't pierce your fingers. Sweet potatoes are hard. hold it down here. Do not try this at home. I might cut this little green end off. I don't trust a green sweet potato. Well, I was going to eat it for lunch, but the ants have burrowed into it all over the place, as you can see. So, I'm going to go dig up some more sweet potatoes from the in-ground raised bed and see if I can get some lunch from there. So this is what's left of my sweet potato vines. The deer have been having a field day out here. So it's time to go ahead and pull these up and see if I actually have any sweet potatoes. I wasn't really expecting much from the purple ones. And I might have a couple from the green ones. So let's see what I've got. Very windy out here today. But I'm going to get these vines pulled up. Probably going to just put them in a stack out there by the road and let the deer go ahead and finish eating them all. These leaves are edible if you want to eat them as well, but Tommy's not interested, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them. I'm wearing my new gloves, and I have my new tools. I was sent this stuff to try out by a company. I'll put a link down below if you're interested in buying one as a Christmas gift. It would make a cool gift for the gardener in your family. Comes with a hat, an apron, these 3 tools, and a set of gloves. So it's a pretty cute little gift if you're interested in buying one for the gardener in your family. So let's get these vines pulled up. We'll see if we actually have any sweet potatoes. Alright, well, let's see what we got here. So from the main portion of the sweet potato vine, we've got these 2 little purple sweet potatoes. I'm not expecting anything else, but I would like to keep these for next year so that I can grow more sweet potato vine. Hey, you chickens need to get out of here. I know, you're interested in what bugs and worms I've dug up. This one sweet potato vine covered at least 6 feet of space. So if you're interested in growing it for ornamental reasons, it is really good for that. Oh, I found another little one. I've never actually tried these sweet potatoes, so we'll have to try one and see what they taste like. These roots really started going down in there. If I'd left them longer, they might have produced something. That big old grub worm, can you see that? Alright, now let's see what we have in this bed. Not expecting much over here either. That was starting to grow a small one. Found one over there off camera, and a little one that has a hole in it. So the purple one came all the way over to here. These almost look like carrots. Not almost, they do look like carrots that are oddly shaped. I'm just gonna dig all through this bed, see what I have, if anything. Another little one, but it's after Thanksgiving, so there's no way I was gonna leave these in here any longer. Another tiny one. More little ones. Some more little ones. And I have one more place to look over in this corner over here where one rooted. Another little one. Little one. Looks like some grew up under the edge over here. Let's see. Little one and a little one. So it looks like, for the most part, we just got a bunch of little ones like this. So there we go. Whole little bucket of little sweet potatoes. I'll probably try to save these and use these to start some more sweet potato plants in the spring. Because I have both the purple and the normal store-bought kind. So we'll try this again next year, and hopefully we won't have a drought like we did this year. Let's move on to the okra. Now it's time to pull up the okra, which is actually still producing, but most of the leaves are dead. And I'm done with gardening for the year. So you can see it's still producing. I'll go ahead and cut these off. But yeah, it's still producing after Thanksgiving, because we haven't had any freezing temperatures yet. You can see about how big this one here got. I tell people over and over again, remember, you need to pick okra when it's about as long as your finger. Otherwise, it's no good. It's just too woody to eat. But everybody tries to go for that big okra. You only do it once, and then you learn, and you know better. Not everything is better, bigger. Okra definitely fits into that category. So let's get these pulled down, and I'm going to measure that big one there and see how tall it actually got. Alright, now that I got all the okra pulled up, I can, oh, and the sweet potatoes, I can work on getting these beds ready for the spring, because I'll be growing different things out here this spring, putting something else in the spots that I had this stuff in. So the milkweed seeds are ready to come off. They're in their little bag. It did bust open, if you can see that. So I'm just gonna cut that off. And now I have milkweed seeds that I can plant for next year. The entire plant I can cut back down if I want to. Just cut it way back down. Haven't decided if I'm gonna do that yet or not. Looks like it. I mean, it's still green, so there's not really any monarchs or anything around here right now, so it wouldn't hurt to cut it back down, let it grow back next year. That's probably what I'll do. That's what it looks like once I've pulled up all the okra. Looks like a bomb went off. Blue potato bush. I did get some bricks around it, and I had put some leaf mulch around it, but the chickens threw it all out around here. Story of my life with chickens. But I think it's liking its new home here more than it did the other place, and hopefully by this next year it will bloom. It'll bloom for me. My garlic is still doing well. Just leave that until next summer. The cannas that I had cut back are all now coming back up, and like I said, we haven't had a freeze yet, so they'll just keep growing unless we have a freeze. These canna I did not cut down, and as you can see, they look like they need to be cut down. They just don't look attractive when you leave them like this. They're just crunchy at this point, so I'll be cutting these down soon. Tommy's little orange tree is still surviving, even though we've got something going on here that I'm gonna need to treat. His banana tree is still surviving, but I do need to wrap it so that if we do get a freeze, we don't lose the main part of the tree, the main part of the banana tree. It'll keep growing as well, unless we get a freeze. And here, I had planted that Mizuna Japanese mustard green, and as you can see, I have some green going in here, and I'm gonna assume that that's what it is. Not absolutely positive, but we'll let all this green keep growing and see if that's what that Mizuna looks like when it grows. Looks kind of like onions to me. With my gardenias, once they start getting taller than I want them to be, I take at least, a 6-inch cutting, and I put it in water and root it, and then I grow little babies like that one. and that one. So it's time to cut off some of this top stuff, and I'll be rooting this over the winter time. The crepe myrtles are all losing their leaves slowly. On this bed, I am just throwing limbs and leaves and whatever coffee filters in there and getting it ready for the spring. And Tommy's building me several more beds like this, which he should have done in the next couple of weeks. Still have pineapple sage growing. This is a bell pepper plant, more sage, and some mint back here on the other side. Got mint growing there. This is that little vine that insists on growing up over this trellis. And then my little perfume breeze rose is still doing well. It's going to need to be cut back. You can still see that it's blooming, and it is after Thanksgiving. Getting lots of new growth, but I'm going to have to cut back a lot of these canes and retrain it. Got some lantana still blooming over here. You can see the little pink flowers right there. Doesn't care that it's almost Christmas. Elephant ears still doing okay, even though some are falling down into the goldfish pond. Goldfish are wondering if I'm going to feed them. We still have lemongrass growing. Something's knocked this over. Confederate rose hibiscus I planted this year. These are probably never going to open. It's kind of late for Confederate rose hibiscus, but anyway, it's still doing well. I actually have some tea plant, Hawaiian tea plant growing right there as well, and one right there. Another Confederate rose hibiscus I planted this year. They have not lost their leaves yet. Cannot remember what this is called. Variegated something. French flower? Yeah, French flower. They're still getting rooted in, and chickens dug up the roots on this one on one side, so I'm going to have to hurry up and get some soil in there before that dies. My Mad Hatter pepper did not do well this year in the drought. This was the worst year ever for this plant, and it's normally about 5 feet tall, and that's as tall as it got this year. So I'm just going to let it go back to sleep and start again in the spring. Of course, there's the shower we're building. Tommy's gonna get back to that this week. Another Confederate rose hibiscus that's growing up over the pergola. Still have a fern growing out here. End of November. And as well as some Mexican heather. It does not mind this weather. We've got something flowering over here, which I never can remember the name of it. And this, of course, is called Wandering Jew. These were little babies I stuck in here to let them get bigger. Growing around the base of this tree is also Wandering Jew. Has some sage over here. Don't remember what kind. I want to say it's either blue or purple. I do have some succulents started over here. Here's the name of that plant. Jazz Hands Variegated. That's what it's called. I don't know where I got the other from. Here are some Confederate rose hibiscus I have rooted, so I can get those planted. And it's time to cut back my shrimp plant. Even though it's still flowering, it's looking kind of sad after the wind has broken a bunch of pieces off. So it's time to go ahead and cut this back and let it come back in the spring. And back here, I have a hydrangea that has not lost its leaves yet. And I'm going to be moving this one. See what I mean about the shrimp plant? It's just everywhere. So I'm going to be moving this hydrangea to a new location this winter because it's just not a good place for it anymore. Future plans. I did get the weed cloth down for the first part of the pathway that's going to go in, but I ran out and I'm going to have to get some more. So Tommy came home and I'm going to have him measure this okra plant to see what the final height of it was. We've been measuring from length there, so.
.14 11 inches.
So almost 15 feet. Cool. And as much as it pains me to do this because it is still budding, it is still flowering, I mean, it needs to be cut back so it'll be healthy. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it back. And yes, I'm using my kitchen shears. If I don't cut it back, it just gets all a big tangled, spindly mess like you see. And then we get a good wind and it breaks off. This is the shrimp plant for those of you that don't know. All of this is what I cut off, and this is what's left. I have completely massacred it with this haircut, but it will come back again rather quickly and it'll be a lot healthier. And that gives me room now to dig up this hydrangea and relocate it because it's not doing so hot over here in this area anymore. So that needs to get moved. I don't know why it's taken me so long to get this video finished. Um, I guess it's just that time of year when you're kind of, your body and mind and everything are just kind of like, let it go. And we'll start again in the spring. When I get home from work, it's after 5:30, so it's dark already. While I have been known to do some gardening in the dark, I prefer not to because of snakes. But this has been a difficult gardening year, probably one of the most difficult of my life. Gardening is usually so easy here in this part of Texas because, you know, we get an average of 52 inches of rain a year, and we were not getting anything close to that this year. We were in the middle of a drought, so I had to decide what to keep watered and what to let go because we're on a well, which means a lot of electricity if you're watering things, and we had to decide, is it worth it to keep some cucumbers alive that I can buy for 50 cents at the store to pay a $500 light bill? And the answer was no. Normally, watering's not a problem because you know, we get so much rain. So I guess this was a disappointing year for me because I didn't accomplish as much as I wanted to. I didn't meet my goals. But then I look at where we started, which was a blank slate, and I'll put up a picture of where we started at in this house, in this yard, well, in this yard. And we really have accomplished a lot when you figure where you started. I left an established garden behind and had to start from scratch. You know, I had 50 grow buckets that I had collected from going up to Kroger and getting their icing buckets and things like that. And then I had the in-ground garden, and I haven't had failures on this scale in years. It's, you know, the only failures I can even think of are straw bale gardening and what was the other one? The potato towers. Those never worked for me. I'm not sure why, but I did not like either one of those methods. So, but yeah, it's hard to accept defeat, but I think I can be proud of what we did accomplish this year. Sorry, the sun is kind of in my face. Um, Especially considering we were in the middle of a drought, and we can just start again in the spring and hopefully have a better year. Now, I know Rome wasn't built in a day, but there's just so much I want to get done, and I guess my impatience are part of the problem. And poor Tommy, you know, he works a minimum of 60 hours a week, and I work as well, so we can only get so much done between the remodeling of the house and our jobs, and try to keep up with gardening and our YouTube channel at the same time. So hopefully people understand that and don't go, why is it taking you so long to get what this person over here gets done really quick? Well, for one thing, some of those people have a lot more money to put towards getting these things done, and they have crews that help them. This is just Tommy and I. We don't have crews that help us, you know, so be patient with us, and hopefully gardening will be better next year. I know we have big plans, and hopefully one of them that gets completed is the outdoor shower, so we can work on our indoor shower. But that has nothing to do with gardening, except that it's in the garden, as you can see right there behind me. And with Thanksgiving and everything else that's been going on, we just haven't had a chance to get back to finishing that outdoor shower either. So anyway, we would like to thank you guys for subscribing and being patient with us. We hope you are enjoying this holiday time of year. I know there's lots of baking and getting Christmas shopping done and making gifts for people because we make a lot of homemade things. Thank you guys for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe.